Welcome. Nice to see you again. So for those who are watching for the first time, my name is Sonia. I'm one of the co-founders of the LIT community, and I'm here today with, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is Biyang. I am a licensed clinical social worker. Currently, I'm based in Chicago, especially during the pandemic. But I provide, psychotherapy. I do telehealth for clients for the past few years. And yeah, I love this kind of freedom and lifestyle while also doing the work I love. And I found, Location Independent Therapist, the group, a while back, and I just really felt connected and also at home with people's philosophy and their passions. So it's been like a really motivating community for me. So I'm glad to be here.
What type of clients do you usually work with? Do you have a typical client or clientele that you work with?
Yeah, I've never really, marketed myself to a population, but I do on my website really focus on my story. And I think because of that, a lot of my clients are young, maybe in their 20s or 30s, Asian American, young adults. And a lot of it I deal with things about transition or identity, also just balancing the expectations of two different cultures, and family, and I think it's something that I have certain, personal experiences with, but also it's something that I connect deeply with. So I, especially because of in the Asian American community, sometimes mental health has a certain stigma to it. And it's also, I think, something more recently and during the pandemic and with recent, social events that is becoming more acceptable and sought out. So I'm really appreciative to be able to work with more clients. Yeah.
Yeah, and you've been doing this for a while now. Do you work with clients all over the place, or do you have clients mostly from one location?
So I have seen clients kind of, for a little bit at the start of my practice, but recently it's a lot about more people in the US. And part of it, there's like sort of licensing, because in the US you have to be licensed in specific states to see them. So I'm licensed in, Illinois, New Jersey, Florida, and kind of looking at other states too. And I think because of insurance that allows clients to be able to use that benefits and also increase access. So I definitely work more with clients in the States. Yeah.
Mhm. And what about yourself? Have you taken your practice on the road yet, or have you any plans to do that?
So I definitely have traveled in Southeast Asia for a few months. This was like 2-3 years ago, and that was when I was still working with clients a little more internationally, because the time difference is crazy. But recently recently it's been I've been just in the US, so the time zone hasn't been an issue. But I think I definitely get rusty like after not traveling for a bit, because when I'm on the road it was always like, oh, I'm cool with like a suitcase and like a bag of stuff, and now I'm like, oh my goodness, and so I get nervous again. So I think recently I did sort of a trip just to like get on a plane again after the pandemic, and I was like, okay, I can still do it. So I'm definitely planning a trip, kind of maybe late July, August, going to Latin America or other places for a few months where the time difference is very reasonable. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm nervous and excited, which is, I guess, to be expected. So
Yeah, time zones are definitely a big one. Do you have any other tips for colleagues who might be looking into this lifestyle or starting it? from your experience or what you've prepared so far?
I think that especially at the start, a lot of it is my own sort of doubts and concerns. There's a lot of, especially when I first started in 2019 in the US, I remember just people say, "Oh, like who do you work with? What do you do?" I'm like, "I'm a therapist. I do telehealth," and they're like, "Okay, yeah." And I think there's definitely a difference between in person and telehealth, especially because I have more of a psychodynamic approach, and there's a lot of things I'm very attentive to. But I find that part of being authentic as a therapist is also respecting my own like passions and what I want out of life. And I think especially working with clients who explore their identity and really challenging, the status quo or what they're told growing up. For me, I always also ask myself the same question, like, Biyang, what do you want to do? What are you passionate about? And part of that, I think it's flexibility, or especially traveling to different places and feeling like being able to be challenged on a day-to-day basis and just really see the world. And um, especially when I watch sunset and sunrises at different places, or like the ocean or nature, like it's that like feeling of like freedom or high that is I don't know. So and I think that's important for me to feel authentic long term, in that I am also asking myself those questions, and I'm um, still scared, but definitely kind of pushing myself, because part of working with clients and helping them, there's also a part of, well, I guess I also need to know what it feels like, because there are nuances there. So that's part of it. And just, I think that authenticity piece. So I think definitely a lot of times there's kind of, like people who say after you get out of grad school, people usually work in companies or other places for a while. And sometimes I think, well, Bial, who are you to, just work for like a year and get your license and decide to just like go to private practice? And so there's those voices, and there's, well, what people think of me, even like what do my parents think of me, which is sort of like that stability, and kind of following what everyone deems as successful. So of course there's that, but I don't know. I guess sometimes it's like once I do it, once I do it, uh, then the lighting comes. So see, that's another issue with telehealth, because then you have lighting issues. There it is. Okay, so, but I think once you do it a little bit, then it's I talk about it, and now I think about it. I don't know if it necessarily gets easier to a point where I'm like, oh, now I do it once, I'm so confident with myself. Next time I'll just do it and there's no problem. I think it comes up each time, but I think each time there's a sense of confidence or faith of, okay, I remember I was really scared, but I did it once, so maybe this time would be okay too. So yeah, that's, I guess, my thoughts on that.
Mhm. How do you imagine the future of telehealth and location independent life as a therapist and work for yourself and maybe for the world?
I definitely have worked with a lot of clients with insurance. I do have clients who are self-pay, but it's something where telehealth coverage with insurance has definitely expanded in the US recently, but there's always this, healthcare system in the US, so there's always that portion about, is telehealth covered? So I definitely find myself thinking about that, and there's there's the seeing my clients. I love doing psychotherapy, and I think when it comes to private practice and the things I'm passionate about, I love writing, or talking about Asian American mental health, and kind of being more in just other spaces related to mental health. So from a business perspective, it's also having, maybe diversifying a little bit, and um, just being able to feel like I have a lot of options with like finances, or just exploring my different outlets. So, but hopefully, telehealth coverage is here to stay, because I think based on the pandemic, or just in general, to help people have this ease of access. Because a lot of people say, "Oh, commute is frustrating. I have children at home." I hopefully that's here to stay. Um, but and which yeah, but I think either way, I don't know that I plan to travel the world like indefinitely, but I definitely want to take the opportunity to just explore. But
And can you tell us a little bit about why you joined the community? Do you remember how you found us and why you joined and how your experience has been? I remember one of the things I remember about you is that you joined some of the meetups early on, also on walks outside, because you were talking about nature earlier and how, like, it's like really on the go sometimes, especially with, you can access things from your phone, and you can do, if you commute, or or even just, we have some members who go to the park and then join our events to be outside a little bit. Yeah, that's one of my memories of, like, after, I think, especially at the beginning, but was it at the beginning of the pandemic, maybe, especially that you were doing that? Yeah, but just
yeah. I think I first really felt like when I wanted to do therapy and kind of travel, I didn't find like other people of the similar mindset. And I do think I was on a website. I kind of saw Melissa's, the other co-founders, saw kind of the work she does, and she introduced me to the Facebook group, and I thought, oh my goodness, like people are doing this. And so when the community really kind of started, kind of to, getting like the meetups and having access to that, I, because, I see clients usually afternoon and evenings, just for schedule purposes. I think a lot of some of the meetups, given, because like people in the community are from like around the world, different time zones. I do know some of the events were like maybe around morning or noon my time. And so part of that time is when I, do my walks, do my chores, and things. So I would definitely have liked to sort of sit down as well. But there was a part of me that also said, I want to get the information, I want to participate, but I also just like, this is the time I have to like do stuff. So I definitely appreciate that. Like you're right, like flexibility on Zoom, you can do like phone, you can do anything. So you're able to be a part of it and don't have to feel like, oh, I need to sacrifice my life, or like I need to fit it in. So it just in the spirit of location independence. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to add, or where can people find you?
So I definitely have like a Facebook group for my company. I go under TheXponential, which is TheXponential. And so I do have an Instagram and a Facebook. I'm not on there as much as I would like, as not surprising, but that is a way to keep connected. Um, uh, I usually try to post meaningful things, and I do have a website. with a blog. It's something I definitely created on my own and hopefully has my style to it. So that's somewhere I invite clients to learn about my specific approach, my background, and feel like if it's a good fit. So that's mostly where I'm at the moment.
Yeah, we will add the links under the video so everyone can just easily find that. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you.
I hope to see you soon inside the community.
Yes, me too. All right, take care.